Yamunatira vanachare Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihare Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihare Kapitana Ballabha Giripada Dare Kapitana Ballabha Giripada Dare Yasodanandana Vrajatanaranjana Yamunatira vanachare Yamunatira vanachare Jayam Vishnupat Paramahamsa Vagacharya Sarada Shishana Siddhasiddhanta Sanghara Shri Ki Niskan Sapakachaya Shri Ki Ananta Kudi Vaishnava Vindagi Jai Namacharya Shri Thakur Ki Jai Prem Jaga Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shri Vasudha Bhakta Vindaki Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Mathura Dham Ki Jai, Lavhitam Ki Jai, Gangamai Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveda Bhaktanda Ki Jai, Gaura Premanande. All glories to the seven devotees, all glories to the seven devotees, all glories to the seven devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Gauranga, all glories to Shri Prabhupada. So we continue with the Transcendental Diary by Hari Sari Prabhu. Om Namo Bhagavate Namam Vishnupadaya Krishna Vrastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nedavashesha Shunyavadi Vashtaka Satarine. So we start with October 6, 1976. 1976. In his Bhagavatam class, Prabhupada said that the Vaishnava was always sympathetic. Draupadi, who had lost 5 sons, was concerned that Ashwatthama's mother, das haben wir schon gelesen, okay, so. But a devotee, just like Rupa Goswami, he also did the same thing. What is that? He was a minister, das haben wir auch schon gelesen. Despite this, he said that a Vaishnava cannot be happy if others are unhappy. Vaishnava was not satisfied that because I have no problem, I can chant anywhere and enjoy. No, still, Vaishnava takes the risk. As Prahlad Maharaj said, I do not wish to go alone to Vaikuntha or anywhere, my Lord, unless I can deliver all these rascals. This is, I once heard that in India, rascal is much more heavy than in the West. So when Prabhupada said he's rascal in India, oof. This Krishna consciousness movement is increasing like an epidemic. He has said that, and if we do not check it, one day it may take our government. He has opined like that. So any intelligent man can know what is the ultimate result. Because mass of people, if they take to Krishna consciousness, then government is yours. That is a fact. To the last of the devotees, he spelled out the consequences of what that meant. And if Krishna consciousness government is there, no meat eating, no smoking, no illicit sex. So many no's, the demons will die. That is the position. Thank you very much. Sri Prabhupada always, after class, he always said, thank you very much. There is a devotee here from Chicago, Trana Kartadas, who is very interested in singing different bhajans. Several times I've heard him sing Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunya Bihari, Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha, Jaya Giri Varadhari, Jaya Giri Varadhari. Rather than sing it the way Prabhupada does, in view of what Prabhupada recently said about not chanting anything given by the acharyas, I approached Tranakarta and asked him where he had learned this new version. He said that he had heard it on a tape made by Achyutananda Swami. He was also singing other bhajans that are not in our songbook, and said that he got them from Prabhupada's godbrothers. He even had a tape of himself singing a song written by B.R. Sridhar Maharaj. We had a bit of a debate about the merits of what he was doing, and so I decided to bring the matter to Srila Prabhupada for clarification. I brought up the issue about chanting new versions of existing songs and the chanting of new songs. As far as a new version of Jaya Radha Madhava is concerned, Prabhupada said it was all right, but he added, Bhaja Hare Krishna is not all right. The thing is, they add these things without asking, and that is a danger. It is better to just follow the Guru. Srila Prabhupada confirmed that the song and the singing of his godbrothers was also all right. Nevertheless, his preference is clearly that we stick to whatever he has introduced, and not to be so interested in running here and there to gather up new songs, as this way cause a distraction for us. As he has said before, our Western mentality is to always seek out something new. We are never satisfied with what we already have. Interesting. No? Actually, Achyutananda, he went to India in the beginning, when we had no temples yet. Yeah. Him and, I don't remember, one of the devotees who came to India the first time also was reinitiated. And Prabhupada became very upset. He was reinitiated by one godbrother. And so Achyutananda, in the end, because they had no place to stay, so Prabhupada suggested they go to Sridhar Maharaj ashram. And they stayed with Sridhar Maharaj for some time. And that is where Achyutananda learned all these songs. And then he published a songbook, his songbook, with the introduction of Srila Prabhupada. And that was always our standard, Achyutananda songbook. It's not now known anymore as Achyutananda songbook because it has changed. We also have one songbook in Spanish in South America. And so many new songs were added to that songbook. Anyway, that's where we got all the melodies from in the beginning. So in this way, that they were alone there. Prabhupada wasn't there, directing them at that time, only by letter. And as at that time there was no internet, so the letters took some time. Prabhupada, when the letter was arriving at the place where Prabhupada had been a few days ago, and then the letters would have been sent again after Srila Prabhupada. Sometimes it took quite some time to get an answer from Srila Prabhupada. So, Dr. SB Chatterjee sent a response. He returned by return mail to Srila Prabhupada, reply to him last week. Dr. Chatterjee gave a more detailed idea of his plan for an international university based on Vedic principles. He suggested a system of awarding diplomas and degrees to the level of PhD, and the establishment of postgraduate and research facilities. He proposed the department teaching many modern languages as well as Sanskrit, a music department offering training in classical, Dhrupat, Dhumar, Tumari, Kirtan, and modern devotional songs, as well as dance and drama based on the Srimad Bhagavatam, an Ayurvedic or homeopathic department combined with modern hospital equipment, an agricultural department, a museology department dealing with archaeology, and other sections dealing with commerce, history, and domestic science. It is not necessary to start all the departments at a time, he wrote. Some will be open at the time, others will remain pending, but Sanskrit will have to pay its own parts. Your Gurukula attempt is a right step in the right direction, and it will develop more and more with this scheme. We shall have to start this ISKCON University at any cost, and this music and dance drama departments will have appreciation abroad, as also Sanskrit consisting, as it does, the dues of our ancient civilization and heritage, ancient economy and social aspects, and ancient knowledge about science and technology in the days of yore. He said he had many more ideas which he wanted to discuss with Srila Prabhupada when Prabhupada goes to Calcutta, and he was eager to begin. As you have stated, there will be no financial difficulties. I think it is better we start this university in no time, in the interest of all concerned, with a strict Sanskrit basis. Well, Hare Krishna. I have no idea what happened after that. But it was actually Prabhupada's idea to have a university in Mayapur. A university based on Varnashrama Dharma. Actually, Prabhupada, in the end, Prabhupada would say that only 50% of his mission had been fulfilled. And the other 50% he wanted this training, or this, how you say this, Varnashrama college or university, better to say. So there's one devotee, one godbrother of mine, I don't remember his name. He's in charge of that department of Varnashrama Dharma, and especially the Varnas. And he's written books about it also. And he used to be, his base had been in Mayapur for a long time. Yeah, right. So, and he once lost a leg because there were some gundas attacked the devotees in Mayapur. And the devotees were fighting, and so he lost a leg there. Hare Krishna. Yeah. Any questions regarding all this? Yeah.
Maharaj, what is the destination of who accept renunciation?
What is the destination of somebody who
Renunciation. Reject a bona fide guru and accept another guru, like from Köln to Gaudiya Math.
well, he's fallen. Prabhupada sometimes spoke very sharp, saying you cannot become Krishna conscious outside of ISKCON. Yeah. So he said it for, well, because he was convinced about it. He had experienced, he had experienced what the movement was after the departure of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And, actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati had wanted a GBC, a governing body commission for the Gaudiya Math. Whereas in India, the tradition is that whenever a guru leaves, he names a successor. Whereas Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati didn't do this. No, he actually wanted a GBC. His senior devotees form a body, governing body of the Gaudiya Math. And they didn't do it. And on the basis of that instruction, Prabhupada formed his GBC. Yeah? Because Prabhupada mentioned that because they were not following the instructions of their spiritual master, that's how everything became diluted. How do you say? Diluted? What is that? Diluted. Yeah. And we had experiences in the beginning when we started going to Mayapur. We were, visiting also the Gaudiya Math temples and this and that, and then we had an invitation. There was an invitation from one of the Gaudiya Maths. They were inviting us to a program, and many devotees went. Well, we all disciples of power at that time. And then a sannyasi gave a speech of reception. And he mentioned more or less that, well, you've all been hippies and so when Prabhupada heard about that, Prabhupada thought this was an offense. That had been an offense. And he prohibited us prohibited? No, he forbade us to visit the Gaudiya Math temples. Yeah. And there's a lot of things that also happened. Like sometimes they invited us to eat or something. No, but they would never take prasadam with us because they didn't consider us on the same level. Yeah, and as I mentioned, they even try to reinitiate disciples of Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. There's a whole section in this. We have these 3 books about different themes with Prabhupada's instruction, Prabhupada's letters. I don't remember the name of the books. And there's Shikshamrita, right. And there's a section in there of Prabhupada's relationship with the Gaudiya Math. Yeah. A whole collection of quotes and letters like that. Yeah. And Prabhupada was very disturbed by the way they were, disrespecting, his movement, his disciples and all this. Yeah. Okay, so continue with the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Another question.
Who are you?
What happened to the disciples of those gurus who have fallen down? Do they need another guru, or do they still have the connection to Krishna when the guru is not there as a link?
In general or related?
Yeah.
In general, when somebody leaves, or what?
So when the guru is fallen,
Yeah.
what happens to his disciples? Is it better than that they take initiation from another guru, or just they have still this connection?
Well, when this started happening in ISKCON, the GBC didn't want to be too harsh. Too harsh. And they said, well, if you like, you can take a reinitiation. But it was an option. It was an option. But in due course of time, things changed, and they said they had to have a guru. I mean, formalize a relation with another guru. Yeah, this was also something that was also an experience in ISKCON. In the beginning, everyone had full faith in Srila Prabhupada, and everything was fixed on Prabhupada. And when Prabhupada left, actually we had no idea how to continue, really. What standard they should have the new gurus. And when I went after Prabhupada's departure, next year I went to Mayapur. And the whole temple was full of Vyasasans, big, huge Vyasasans. This was a standard that they started to introduce. But gradually it became more humble and more different. Just like in the beginning, the disciple would put their guru on the disciple succession on the altar. Yeah. And then, as you might have noticed, the picture became smaller and smaller and smaller, and now it's on the table. I say where the plate is. And now it's becoming more, more practical. Yeah, that was something that actually I didn't want to say, but when these problems started, the face of the devotees became, diminished. Diminished? Yeah. Yeah, so, Hare Krishna. No more questions. This theme is, das Thema ist abgeschlossen. We have to start with, now I don't remember where I stopped. Can you put was it related to this topic? Oh, okay. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we continue with the 7th canto, 7th chapter, verse 25. Budhe jaganam svapna sushuptiri tivritaya tayena ivanu bhuyante suryaksha purusha paraha budhe jaga Rahnam swapna sushuptiri tivritaya tejenaivanu bhuyante suryaksha purusha paraha Bude jagaranam swapna Sushiptiri tivritaya Tayena bhuyante Suryaksha purusha paraha
Budhe jagaranam swapna
Tayenaivanubhavyante Yaksha Parasha Paraha Budhe Jagaranam Sapna Sushuptiri Tivitayaha Tayenaivanubhavyante Soyaksha Purusha Paraha. Tidam. Jagaranam Sapna Sushuptiri Tivitayaha Paraha Budhe Jagaram Swapna Sushuptiri Tivitayaha Tayenaivanubhavyante Soyaksha Purusha Paraha Budhe of the intelligence, Jagaranam, the waking or active state of the gross senses, Swapna, dreaming, the activity of the senses without the gross body, Sushupti, deep sleep, or cessation of all activities, although the living entity is the seer. Iti, thus, Ritaya, the various transactions, Ta, they, Yena, by whom, Eva, indeed, Anubhuyante, are perceived, Sa, that, Adyaksha, overseer, who is different from the activities, Purusha, the enjoyer, Para, transcendental. Translation. Intelligence can be perceived in three states of activity: wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. The person who perceives these three is to be considered the original master, the ruler, the supreme personality of Godhead. Purport. Without intelligence, one cannot understand the direct activities of the senses, nor can he understand dreaming or the cessation of all gross and subtle activities. The seer and controller is the supreme personality of Godhead, the supreme soul, by whose direction an individual soul can understand when he is awake, when he is sleeping, and when he is completely in trance. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sanivishto patasmitir jnanam apahanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The living entities are completely absorbed in the three states of wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep through their intelligence. This intelligence is supplied by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who accompanies individual soul as a friend. Srila Madhvacharya says that the living entity is sometimes described as sattva buddhi, when his intelligence acts directly to perceive pains and pleasures above activities. There is a dreaming state in which understanding comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Patasmitir jnanam apahanam cha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Super Soul, is the Supreme Controller, and under his direction the living entities are sub-controllers. One must understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead with one's intelligence. Buddhi jagaranam swapna susupstiri tibritayah tayayaina bhuyayan tayena ivanubhuyante sodyaksha purusha paraha. Intelligence can be perceived in three states of activity: wakefulness, dreaming, and deep sleep. The person who perceives these three is to be considered the original master, the ruler, the supreme personality of Godhead. Om Maginati Mirandasya Ganandana Shatak. That's right. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manuvastam Savitam Yena Bhutali Swayam Rupagadam Tadati Svapadantikam. So these are again the words of Prahlad Maharaj. A complete self-realized person. No, and he is, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, no, Krishna gives you intelligence. No, when you surrender to Krishna, Krishna helps you in the form of intelligence. He supplies you intelligence. In other words, to see things in the proper perspective. And Paul mentioned that intelligence, is characterized, by good discrimination and remembrance. And in the Bhagavad Gita also, it says that there's the levels of the senses, the mind, and intelligence. And above the intelligence, there's the soul. And Prabhupada gives this example of a Pferdewagen. What is that in English? The Kutsche, that's it. Yeah, but an English one. Anyway, horse cart. Yeah. So there are 6 horses representing the 6 senses, the knowledge acquiring senses. And then there's the driver, and the driver, and there's actually the mind is compared to the reins. That's a rein. And then the driver is the mind, and the passenger is intelligent, and it's a person. Mind? Yeah. What was it again? Senses, the reins, so the driver is intelligence, and the passenger is the soul. And when everything is nicely in order, then everything works according to the passenger. Just like when you take a taxi. Just like in South America, often when you're not familiar with the place, taxi drivers take advantage. And they drive you. And in the end you have to pay a lot of money. So it's always good to have somebody around who knows the way. Anyway, so the horses, when they're nicely controlled by the reins, and the driver, then naturally the passenger gets to his destination, desired destination. But in material life, it's not that. It's not that way. The senses demand sense gratification. And the reins are flying in the air. The driver is like, completely out of control. And the passenger is like, where will this trip end? So that is how it's defined in Bhagavad Gita. The senses have to be controlled, or not. How you say? Inactiviert. What is that? But this, the impersonalists, they say, everything has to be negated because this is all the cause of our suffering and entanglement in the material world. And the ultimate state is impersonal. Everything is one. But actually, everything is nicely constructed and I say carried out under the direction of the like it's mentioned here by the Super Soul. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of God, is in control. Just like this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Bahunam Jamanamanti Jnanavamam Papadyante Vasudeva Savamiti Samahatma Sudhana. After many births and death, if one actually acquires real knowledge, he surrenders to the Supreme Personality of God. Knowing me, Krishna said, knowing me to be the cause of all cause and all that is. And such a great soul is a Mahatma. And then it says, the verse says, these kind of souls, these kind of persons are very, very, very rare. And of course, nowadays, it's even rarer. In Kali Yuga, everything is, like they say in English, topsy-turvy. Or die Füße nach oben. Wie sagt man das in Deutsch? Yeah, anyway. So the intelligence is very important. Good intelligence. Like Bhagavad ends the purport here saying, Krishna can be understood by intelligence. Actually, if we apply our intelligence in trying to understand what Krishna says in the Bhagavatam, what we get in knowledge in the Bhagavatam, in Bhagavad Gita, like that, then in this way our intelligence becomes purified. There's an explanation of, I don't know if it's Chaitanya Charitam or Rupa Goswami. It says, Ado Shraddha. Ado Shraddha. That's how spiritual life starts. One feels attracted. One sees a Hare Krishna and one becomes inquisitive. Wow, what are you doing? Who are you? Then Sadhu Sangha. One associates with devotees. Then Bhajana Kriya. One accepts a spiritual master or gets a seed of devotional service. Then Anartha Nivritti, when one is seriously practicing Krishna consciousness, naturally comes to Anartha Nivritti. Anartha Nivritti means that everything that is not related to devotional service becomes less, one loses interest in everything that has no relation to devotional service, to spiritual life. When that's happened, next thing is that one becomes steady, fixed in his devotional service. I don't remember the name. What was the name of that state? Anatta Nivritti. Nishta. One becomes fixed. Fixed. There's nothing else left than devotional service. Everything is seen from the point of devotional service. It's practicality and devotional service, like that. And then one develops taste. One develops a taste for the chanting, for hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, like that. Anyway, so bhava, next state is bhava. It's a preliminary, what is that? Preliminary state before prema. Anyway, I was looking for actually a verse that mentions the symptoms of bhava. You know a verse? I was looking because I even in India once I bought a Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. It's Sanskrit and translation. But then when I found the verse related to Bhava, I noticed in that book, there were no word per word translation, only the Sanskrit and the translation. You know a verse with where the word per word translation is given of Bhava? You're looking?
I'm looking at the verse.
Yeah. Anyway, so this is, Prabhupada used to say this is, no, Bhakti Yoga is a science, it's scientific. Modern science, they have these, I don't remember the exact names, the names given, I think it's in Greek or in Latin, the scientists use. But it's a proposal, they say things are like that. No? Then the next thing is they have to give a process to realize this. And they have to also, and the process has to be a result. Nowadays, science is limited to declarations, experiment, but they can, for example, they say that living entities are product of a combination of matter, but they have never given a proof. They have only made this declaration, but they have no proof. No proof that actually life comes from matter. But it's an accepted so-called scientific concept, or that everything started with a big soup. A soup. There was a soup, and living entities were coming out of the soup. And then when two entities came out of the soup, the humans, and they looked at each other, they fell in love. And they created and populated the universe like that. Or then also the Big Bang. Big Bang. Big Bang, big explosion, and everything fell into order. Normally when you have an explosion, there's disorder. And I mentioned that before. When I started going to Colombia and South America, there was a lot of bombs and there was a lot of terrorism and all that. And I was giving a class once at night, Bhagavad Gita class, and all of a sudden there was a bomb close to the temple. And all the glass of the windows of the houses had fallen out and all that. Then the police came. They had a special bomb command. They got so many bombs. And so what they do normally when there's a bomb, they come and they put this, this string so nobody can get close. They close it up, and then they look for witnesses. Any witness? Anybody has seen what had happened here? And let's say that somebody says, "Yeah, I was there. I'm a witness." And then you ask, "So who put the bomb?" There was nobody. It came by itself. And that's a serious concept of the scientists. They say there was a bomb. I just heard a class of Prabhupada where Prabhupada said, whenever there's movement, there's some living entity behind it. Even the storms and inundations, there's somebody arranging this. It doesn't come out of it doesn't have no cause. Just like there was Prabhupada mentioned a science, a British, very famous British science. I don't remember his name. Anyway, so he was also religious. He had faith in God. He's a British scientist. And he had a friend who was an atheist. And they would always argue all the time. And at one point, the scientist had made a replica of the universe. Not replica, all the things, but like the sun in the middle and the planets going around the sun and all this. So his friend came and said, "Oh, wow, interesting. Who made this?" And then the scientist said, "What do you mean? This is just a replica of the universe. You say, who made this?" In the same way, there's somebody behind this original universe, a brain. There's always a brain. There's always this. Whenever something happens, there's a touch of a person. But they say no. It's all casual. There's nobody. And when there's order, Prabhupada also said, when there's order, that means there's intelligence. We're studying the laws of nature, like that. But actually, when there's order, when there are laws, there is some intelligence behind this. Otherwise, it would be too chaotic. Like we have the how you say, the Jahreszeiten, what is that in English?
Seasons.
Seasons. We have the seasons. No? Now things have become more disorderly because we're in Kali Yuga. No? So things become more and more disorderly. And people also tend to fight with each other more and more. There's no more harmony. There's no more common center of everything. No? Before, people were more religious. They were religious in every part of the world. No? Also, before the Christians came to South America, they had their religion already. No? Or when the Europeans, the puffed up Europeans came, no, go to the, we call this the third world nowadays. No? They try to impose their concept on anything, philosophy, religion, everything. Yeah? But and they were making jokes about Hindu traditions in India. No? But then Power said now they even took the word juggernaut. No? Juggernaut is something so ridiculous. No? it is part of the English language, juggernaut. No? Yeah? To describe something ridiculous. No? And then Power mentioned, now juggernaut is coming to London. No? And we are introducing these traditions in the Western world. No, yeah. And also they tried, when the British came to India, they tried to try to make people Christians. No? Yeah. And there's an interesting thing in the biography of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. No, he was if you read about his biography, no, he went through different stages in life. And he wasn't a devotee from the beginning. Actually, he became very educated. He became a judge, and he also wrote articles in different newspapers. He wrote books also before he became a devotee. He wrote books about education and things like that. And so at one point when he became very impressed by he had a direct personal relationship with one of the main Christian preachers in India. And at that time, Calcutta was the center of the British India. Yeah. And so he associated with the main preacher, Christian preacher. And he became very impressed by Jesus Christ. But at the same time, it says he was a member of a group of intellectuals who were kind of refuting trying to refute the influence of the British, whatever they brought. So, and they always, when all these things that the British tried to impress in India, impose in India, they were always looking for an alternative, a Vedic alternative. How do you say? No? How do you say alternative? Yeah, alternative. And so when he became more and more knowledgeable about Jesus Christ, he was starting to search for a Vedic alternative. And he came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he realized that actually this is a real thing. Yeah. And actually, we know that Jesus Christ also went to India. It's known that he also went to Jagannath Puri. Yeah, like that. Anyway, so what was the point that I went off somewhere? At some point. Oh, science. Yeah, science. So Srila Prabhupada is very vehement. How you say very? How you say very opposed to modern science. Because many times Prabhupada even mentioned this is not science, it is a speculation. There's different, and then he mentioned that there's different ways of acquiring knowledge. What is that? Anumana is the second. The first, what was the first one? The direct perception? Pratyaksha. Projection. That we experience things and our own experience. Then anumana, that one starts speculating. And then, what is the last one? Pratyaksha? No. Chapter. Yeah. Chapter. No, that's the way how we acquire. No, we should acquire knowledge. No, from chapter, from hearing. No, the Vedic knowledge. No, it's even mentioned that there were in the beginning or before this knowledge was received only by hearing. You know, they wouldn't make any notes or books or anything like that, but they would hear and never forget about it. Prabhupada said Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was also known for that. You know, he had also read many books, and he could immediately, when he was speaking, he would quote and give the exact wording of the books. You know, like that. And on what is that based? You know? I just heard Prabhupada say this is all based on brahmacharya. You know? This is all based on celibacy. That because actually the attraction amongst the sexes, you know, is actually what is described in the Shastras as a knot that holds us tightly not to the material world. Anyway, so this was all important part of education in former times. You know, first they were trained as brahmacharis. The men would be trained as brahmacharis, and brahmachari means to control the sex impulse. Then, if the brahmacharis weren't able to continue with their votes, they were allowed to marry, you know, and go to the next ashram. You know. That means sex. Intercourse was only allowed for creating good children, attract good souls to the family. You know, like the sanskaras, the 10 sanskaras. You know, it all starts with what is that again? Gavadana sanskara. Not just be moved by lust, but you know, to be pure in heart and to attract good souls to the family. Yeah. And then after a while, you know, when the children are leading their own life, when they're big enough, you know, the parents are supposed to retire from their family life, so to say, you know, and go on pilgrimage. And as they travel, you know, less and less are coming home until finally they separate. You know, the lady is goes back to her family, or protected by her sons. Now that's why so much importance was given to have good sons, because the girls will go to other families. They got married at a very early age. Yeah. And then in the end, sannyas. Of course, there's a book about this, Varnashrama Dharma. It says there that actually, you know, the brahmanas would pass the 4 varnas, no, 4 ashrams, and the kshatriyas 3 ashrams. The grihastha would only follow 2, brahmachari and family life, and the shudras would only be there would only be household life. But everything has a practical meaning in the mission, the preaching mission, the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know, that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't give so much importance, you know, to the formalities of the Varnashrama system, even though he also took sannyas. But this was also to teach, you know, to give an example, you know, of proper sannyas life. Anyway, so the end is that one becomes detached, not by renouncing artificially, you know, but actually by absorbing oneself more and more in devotional service. You know, like I mentioned many times this verse, Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Payojana Tanashai Vairagya Jnanam Shadahaitukam. That means one engages in the service of Vasudeva, in the service of Krishna. Then as one advances, naturally one becomes more detached from the material things. And he becomes very intelligent. Krishna gives him the intelligence. So these are sub-products of devotional service. It's not something that you aspire separately for, getting knowledge or I say like that. Of course, everything starts with shabda. That means like hearing from the proper source. Anyway, so now we're hearing here some aspects of intelligence. That the verse says that actually we've been given intelligence, and Krishna gives us intelligence. And for that, for this, he accompanies us during our journey through the material world, from body to body. Krishna is always present. Upadaksha Adumand. He's the witness of all our activities, and he is the sanctioner. He's like he observes everything that we do, and he gives us exactly what we deserve. That's one thing that caught my attention the other day. Bhagavan was very much emphasizing that the point that when somebody is born with good karma, this is actually an opportunity to go further, because one has executed some pious activities, and that's why one is born in a place like, well, let's say Germany, where there's now more and more they have problems, but before they were not having so many problems. Anyway, so. And Bhagavan mentioned that when one is born with good karma, there's an opportunity to go further, to go deeper. Otherwise, if one doesn't do that, then one becomes entangled with so many sinful activities. Even though one is situated in a very, very high platform, one falls down. One goes back to the lower forms. Anyway, so, and Prahlad Maharaj is giving this example. He's very conscious about his position, his constitutional position. And like it says here, he's also merciful, trying to help others who did not have the same chance, and make them devotees too. Anyway, I don't want to extend it unnecessarily. Maybe there's some questions. You found it?
If you want to read it,
yeah, okay. Where did you find it? Anubhava, yeah. The Anubhavas, or characteristics of a person who has developed the bud of bhava, are as follows. Tolerance, not wasting time, detachment from enjoyment, pridelessness, confidence in the Lord's mercy, longing for the Lord, taste for chanting the Lord's holy name, attachment to discussing the Lord's transcendental qualities, and attachment to living in the abode of the Lord. Thank you very much. I'd like to note the verse. Is that from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. You have the whole book here?
No.
No. That's quoting. Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Thank you. Any questions regarding this? Yeah?
Maharaj, what about the previous life of Prahlad Maharaj?
The what?
What about the previous life?
Previous life?
Of Prahlad Maharaj?
I don't remember. Do you know?
It's
said, it said that he was, I don't know for the sake of story, but this is what it says about his life. He was very much arguing with his wife one day, and then he was so upset that he could not eat or sleep. So all night he was not sleeping, and this was the night of the Chaturdashi, and
Oh.
appearance day, so the next life, because he observed the full fasting and not sleeping.
We were just talking about, no? Yes. Oh, yeah.
From where this story?
Huh?
Probably from Puranic Encyclopedia. I can find it. I can find it for you if you want.
Because I heard one story, he was very eager to enjoy with some prostitute, and they cannot find some place and found some old Nrsimha temple. This was a lot of garbage, and she said just before enjoyment, clean this place. He was cleaning Nrsimha temple and became Nrsimha Bhakta. But I don't know from where this story.
Was wolltest du sagen? Was sagst du? Was sagtest du?
Ich sage, das ist von Tamasik Puranum.
Yeah, the Puranas are very extensive. Yeah. And they are Puranas for the persons in mode of ignorance, persons in mode of passion, and mode of goodness. Yeah. I heard some time ago, Prabhupada was mentioned that there's an example given from one of the Puranas for the people in the mode of ignorance. How to kill, how to kill a Ziege. What is that? Ziege?
Goat.
Huh?
Goat.
Yeah, goat, to kill a goat for eating. And then it mentioned all these rules and regulations you have to follow, if you actually want to eat meat. And so it can only be killed once a month, and that was on the dark side of the month when there's no moon and nothing. Yeah. And then there has to be a brahmana chanting mantras when the goat is killed. And the goat, and the mantra is, oh my dear goat, I'm taking your life now, and I give you the opportunity to kill me in one of my future lives, like that. So the idea is that if one does that, according to the rules and regulations mentioned there, then it's expected that one comes to, he wakes up, what am I doing, promising to be killed by the soul of the goat. And there's many more of these regulations mentioned. But the Mahapurana is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And this we owe to Srila Prabhupada. He actually, the other day I had to justify myself as a devotee. And what was that? Sorry, my brain is not perfect yet, after the problems that I had. Sometimes I lose my point, and I have to ask, what did I say? What was in my line? What was that? What do you think?
You said that Srimad Bhagavatam is the...
Yeah, it's a Mahapurana. It's described as a ripened fruit on the tree of Vedic knowledge. And Prabhupada actually, I was speaking, I had to justify myself in one office, legal office. And I mentioned Srila Prabhupada as a founder acharya of our movement, worldwide movement, who had, for the first time, translated Srimad Bhagavatam into a Western language, into English. And that this was a very, very special contribution that Prabhupada made for the well-being of the whole world. Anyway, after I made this presentation, I was absolved from a problem I had. I don't want to mention what problem it was. Hare Krishna. So, any more? Did you get your answer?
I have few versions. I want to find some.
Who was the person who was there was a religious how you say a yagya going on, and the person was sitting with young ladies and singing to them, and he was cursed.
It's not in the moon.
That's not Adam. Oh, yeah, okay. That's not Adam.
And sometimes Prahlad Maharaj mentions like Shaktavesh
Who
Avatar.
mentioned?
Prahlad Maharaj.
Prahlad
sometimes
Maharaj.
mentions like Shaktavesh Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
I never heard
It's
that.
never heard it.
Like representative of Bhakti.
It's Mahajan, one of the Mahajan.
Yeah, Mahajan, right? Yeah, 12 Mahajan.
Representative of Bhakti Shakti. Like the example of the best devotee.
Where is it? Does it say that?
I heard.
Huh? You
I
thought?
Somewhere.
You invented.
Huh?
I just heard Prabhupada say that. You know, like when in Vedic society, you know, amongst the learned persons, whenever somebody said something, they would always ask, where is it mentioned in the Shastra? And they would only accept it on the basis of that. Yeah. That's very difficult, you know, for people nowadays. They all speculate. As soon as you ask somebody, you said, yeah, I think maybe not. No. And that's why we have, well, we got accustomed in South America when we're looking for a place or something, we ask somebody, and we are accustomed to ask somebody else, and if possible, a third person, to be sure. You know? Because I all want to, you know, yeah, I know, you don't worry. Yeah. Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Bhakti. You have something to write? Just try to.